So I have a little story for you about disarming hostile behavior. We all run into this from time to time, whether it's with coworkers, bosses, customers. People get upset about things and they will come at you in a hostile fashion, and you have to figure out how to react and what to do with that. So let me tell you a story from quite a few years ago. I was a young engineer working in a design department, and my boss was a rather young guy who was very sharp, one of the smartest people I've ever known, frankly. And he was gaining a lot of ground in the company. He had a great following. The owner really appreciated him, and he was contributing a lot to the company. So there was another person at the company who was one of the original founders. He was a partner in the business, and he went back 30 years and had not really kept up with technologies, felt like he was being pushed out, I guess. And so he and my boss had a very hostile relationship in general. This person would come stomping into the department, bright red face, fuming, frothing at the mouth, literally. You could see little bits of spittle around his lips. And you just knew there was a fight coming. And he came in with a purpose to disrupt and put someone down and tear them up and just pick a fight. So I watched this go on for a number of weeks when I worked there, and it always ended the same way. He would come in, go into the office, door would close, there'd be a lot of yelling, and he'd come storming out, and the end effect was, well, I'm going to go talk to the president. Well, I will too, and we'll see how this goes. And it was just a constant battle. So one day I was sitting there and I was working at a desk close to the entry door, and I saw him coming down the hallway again, bright red, obviously upset and looking for a fight. And as he walked into the room, I made a decision. I stood up and kind of blocked his way and said, "Good morning, Tom. How are you doing?" And it kind of set him back a little bit. He wasn't sure how to deal with that because he was on a mission to blow right through where I was and head off to my boss's office. And I said to him, "Tom, can I help you? Obviously you're upset. Is there something that I can do for you and help, fix whatever problem there is?" And he just stopped dead, and he went quiet, and he had no idea how to react because he was so used to walking in and picking a fight, and he didn't know how to handle someone who actually spoke with him and wanted to have conversation other than an argument. So he sputtered a little bit, and he came around to the idea that maybe he should tell me what's going on. So he explained his problem to me, and while I didn't entirely agree with what he was saying, I listened carefully, and I said, "Let me help you with that. I will take that on, and I will go find out what happened, and I'll come back to you, and I'll tell you what I've done to fix it, and we'll go from there." And so he said, "Okay." He turned around and he walked out of the room, and there was no fight. So I talked to several people and I figured out what was going on. And in fact, he had misunderstood some things. And I went back to him and I said, "Look, this is what I found. And I can see how you'd see it that way. This is what I saw, and this is the evidence to that. And I didn't do it in a way that told him he was wrong. I just did it in a pure information transference." And he basically was so surprised that someone had taken the time to respect him and pay attention to what he had to say. And he started talking to me. He had never spoken with me before on any regular basis because basically I was part of the enemy camp. And because of this one incident, he made a connection and he realized that not everyone was out to get him, that he could actually have a conversation with people who weren't part of his team, who could do things for him. And I worked at this company for a number of years, and over those years, surprisingly, I became, if not friends, at least someone that this person could come to, who felt comfortable talking to me. And we were able to do a lot of things, accomplish a lot of things, because I could be a conduit for what he wanted and what his perception was, instead of having confrontation every time and a personality conflict that clearly wasn't working before. So we turned a very negative situation into a positive communications channel, and over the years it paid off. It became a very good working relationship, and he still had a lot to contribute. He was recognized for that, and he was able to participate in a way that he was not able to before. So when it comes to customers call up and they're upset. What do you do? So I think about when I'm upset about something. Typically, when I'm upset, and I'm very upset, it's because someone has treated me badly, or I perceive that they have, and that I have not gotten satisfaction, that I feel like I'm not being listened to, that they're not understanding my situation. And so what I find is that when people argue with me or push back against me, it makes me more angry. It makes me feel less valued and like they're not listening. And so things escalate. When I feel like someone starts listening to me and apologizes and says, hey, how can I help? And they really mean it, of course, or at least I feel like they mean it, then things de-escalate quickly. And so I've tried this with customers, and I've been in situations where, look, things get messed up. Things happen in the field that you cannot control, and customers feel like you don't care. So when you get on the phone and you talk with a customer, the first thing I do is I make a point to listen to them, to tell them, please tell me what happened, why you're upset. Tell me how I can make this right in your eyes. And most of them are so taken aback by having that open dialogue, because it seems to be uncommon these days, for whatever reason, that they open up and they talk. And over the course of time, as you talk and you acknowledge these things and you agree with them about certain things, and you can agree with them about certain things without placing yourself or your company in peril, there are some things that are just obvious. You can acknowledge those things and agree that things shouldn't have gone that way, but immediately turn around and say, what can I do to make it better? And offer up what things that can be done to make it better. Customers appreciate that. And I can tell you that I've had many situations where a customer was so upset that they had basically decided they would never do business with us again. They were threatening to trash us in the industry. And by responding, listening, taking care of their real problem, and also addressing their emotional side of things, we sent field service people out to fix a problem. And of course, you have to send the right ones who can also deal with the emotional issues and handle situations like this. But some of those customers would come back and tell us what a great experience it had been in the end. And some of those customers became customers for life, even after having an initially very poor experience with us. So listen, respond, be sincere, don't lie, don't patronize them. Be sincere and offer up help and deliver that help, and you will come up with a much better long-term relationship.